In today's video, I'm going to show you the two meads that I made for a competition, and we're going to talk about how they did. So let's get started. The mead competition I'm talking about is called the Iron Bee Mead Competition. It's a very interesting one in that it is a specific ingredient challenge mead competition itself. So this has been running for many years. The Iron Bee competition was actually the first one I ever entered, like 6 years ago, and I actually went out to Minneapolis and met some people and had some fun there. And it's been continued on, and specifically Kyle Ducharme, who's a great friend of the channel, has continued this legacy of the Iron Bee competition. The competition itself takes a specific ingredient and challenges mead makers to use that in a brew. This year's challenge was hojicha, which is a roasted green tea. Something I've never messed with, but I found it to be a really interesting ingredient, and I went out and bought some. This is what I got right here. So I bought this organic roasted green tea, hojicha tea, and decided I wanted to do two things. Because the mead competition was split into session strength, 7.5% lower, and standard strength or higher, I wanted to make a session strength mead and a standard strength. So what I did was I formulated these two recipe cards you see on screen. One is for an apple and hojicha mead, and that's the session strength one. And the other one's a blueberry and hojicha, and that is a standard strength one. The recipe cards are pretty simple. The apple one uses mostly apple juice and primary, and some apple juice concentrate after for extra flavoring. It uses some jungle blossom honey, which is an interesting honey that I had. And then the blueberry one was pretty straightforward as well. Blueberries, but it used a specific honey that had some like cinnamon characters, so that was kind of fun. And then backsweetened and stuff. Now the hojicha was made into a tea. The way I decided to incorporate this for both of them was to create a tea based with them. So let's break down each one. The first one, the session strength apple one, I made about a half gallon of hojicha tea. I will put my ratios of how much tea I used per gallon and steeping times and that stuff and temps. But I went ahead and steeped, made a half a gallon. I blended it with a half a gallon of apple juice and honey combo. And then we had a starting gravity of 1.050, which was exactly where we wanted to be. So that one's pretty simple. We pitched the Lalvin K1V1116 into that one, and we let it start fermenting. The blueberry was started with a full gallon of hojicha tea. It featured blueberries and primary. We used the Lalvin 71B1122 as our yeast for this one, and the starting gravity on it was 1.090. So that one is going to be our standard strength. That one also started fermenting. I went ahead and did nutrient additions at about 24 hours for each one of them. They both fermented out to 1.000, at which point I racked each one into a new container, and we went ahead and stabilized them both using potassium sorbate and metabisulfite. This allows us to be able to safely backsweeten this brew, and both of them needed backsweetening, to be very clear. So at that point, they were stabilized. They were about 3 weeks old. We went ahead and backsweetened. I used some honey by itself in the blueberry mead to slightly backsweeten. We got it up to about 1.028 was our final gravity on it. We didn't oak it. We didn't do anything else. We just kind of backsweetened it. Let it set for quite some time before we bottled and did anything. The apple one was backsweetened with a little bit of apple juice concentrate and a little more honey, at which point we went ahead and also let it set for a little bit, and then I wanted that one to be carbonated. So what I did was I put it into a keg, a 1 gallon keg. We force carbonated it, and then I transferred from that 1 gallon keg into my bottles ultimately. The tea itself is really interesting. I wanted to highlight this because that's part of the challenge. The tea needed to rise through the mead. And I think the blueberry one did a great job of complementing it. The apple was kind of interesting. I don't know if apple was the best move. And in fact, I think the apple actually had a problem because I tasted a bottle of it about 2 or 3 weeks ago before the competition happened. And there's an off flavor. And I don't know if something got in there, but it's got some funk to it that was not there originally. These both, at this point, are like 7 months old. So we've let them age for quite some time. I want to go ahead and taste them and talk about them, and then we'll talk about the results. right, so as you can see, they both look really good. This is the apple one. Very, very clear, very solid looking brew. That is a good looking brew right there. The blueberry also looks great. Now, let's start with the session strength one. I don't know what happened with this apple one, but the flavor post first bottling was really great. The apple was really nice and smooth and has still had apple character. There's a funk, there's a bit of a definitely fermentation fault. I think there might have been some re-fermentation. Something happened. It's got a little bit of sourness to it, which was not there. Unfortunately, I think this guy's gone south, and I don't know exactly what happened. I think maybe because it's lower ABV, and because when I stored these brews, I bottled them after they were, force carbonated. I didn't store them at cellar temperature. I didn't store them at even a fridge temperature. That might have allowed, because this is lower ABV, that if there was any chance of bad bacteria or something taking hold, with this being low ABV and room temp, it might have lost its control over that. Unfortunately, that one was not super great. In fact, at the competition itself, it didn't medal, didn't do anything well. It scored a 31, and I think he was being nice to me about it, because honestly, it's not great. It's got a lot of bitterness. That Hojicha does shine kind of through, but it's overshadowed by a tart bite that is odd. The blueberry is buttery and smooth on the nose. There's that roastiness from the green tea that pops out as well. The little bit of that slight cinnamon character to the honey does shine in this as well. Blueberry's right in your face. In the Hojicha, the roastiness really complements blueberry because it's dark. It's got this dark undertone to it. The brightness comes from the sweetness, a little bit of acidity. You got this dark undertone of the green tea and the darkness of the blueberries that's also there. It's a really good brew. I like this one quite a bit. It does need maybe a little more tannin because I didn't add any tannin component to this because I thought the tea would be enough. Still very good. This guy actually won second place in the standard strength category. So I would say if you make a tea and make a mead with Hojicha tea, get creative. Do something fun with it. There are a lot of different iterations that went to the competition. I don't know all of them, but I do know that there are some fun ones that went through. I think the blueberry version is probably the better. The apple one was also good. It just went south somewhere, and I don't know exactly why or when, but it happens. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope you'll consider entering the Iron Bee Mead competition. It was a free to enter competition. That's also one cool thing about it. And I got a cool prize too. Kyle, I got a connection with the Flying Bee Ranch people. And for second place, I got a $50 gift card to Flying Bee Ranch. I didn't expect that at all. So all I had to do was ship out those bottles, and thankfully I won something, which is kind of cool. And cool prize. So if you want to find out more information, I'll put information below. He does it once a year, I think. And it's super cool. I highly recommend you go check it out. So thank you for watching. This has been really fun. I love getting to make new meads, especially ones that challenge me to try new ingredients. I highly encourage you to try making mead that challenges your own skill set. Get out of your comfort zone, make some new stuff. Thank you to my patrons, my YouTube members that you see on screen right now. These people make the channel continue to run. YouTube revenue is terrible for a mead making channel of my size, especially. So these people are very helpful. Thank you to them. If you'd like to support the channel and join them, there are perks that you would get if you do that. So thank you for doing that, and I hope to see you in a future video. Cheers.